Conor McGregor touts UFC 246 as highest selling pay-per-view of 2020 with more than 1.3 million buys. Congrats to the UFC on a whale for 2020, the only sporting company on the planet to come through the entire year. Incredible. I am honored to secure their highest pay-per-view of the year with McGregor vs Cerrone. Congrats Donald, and also on his double submission win last night. 100% offense, 100% defense, highest pay-per-view, highest gate, fastest man event KO of the year 2020, 40 seconds, roll on 2021. Hashtag McGregor Sports and Entertainment. Dana White announces UFC 257 first TV events of 2021 to take place on Fight Island. Triple Harder Week, UFC Fight Night, Saturday, January 16, Max Holloway vs Calvin Kattar. Wednesday, January 20, Leon Edwards vs Khamzat Chimaev. And UFC 257, Saturday, January 23rd, Conor McGregor vs Justin Poirier. Amanda Nunes vs Megan Anderson rebooked for UFC 259. Amanda Nunes reacted, knew that, hashtag and still. Megan Anderson, same goal, knew that, hashtag and new. UFC targeting Stipe Miocic vs Francis Ngannou 2 for March. Winner expected to fight John Jones this summer. Ariel Helwani tweeted the UFC wants Stipe Miocic to defend the heavyweight title against Francis Ngannou in March. The title fight isn't a done deal just yet, but that is definitely what the promotion wants. I'm told in a perfect world, the UFC would like for the winner of that fight to defend the belt against Jones in the summer, sources said. Daniel Cormier says Khabib will not come back for money.
Do you think Khabib is coming back? I know Dana is going to meet with him to try to, use his powers of persuasion. What do you think is going to happen there?
I think that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to try to persuade him to fight. I think when you talk about people like Khabib Nurmagomedov, I asked Khabib once, I said, how much money would it take for me to be rich in Dagestan? He said, $5 million and you're rich for the rest of your life. Khabib has much more than $5 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much the money is going to be the thing that draws him back into the octagon. I think it's going to have to be, Dana's going to have to tap into something within his spirit to try to get him to fight again, because he's one of those guys that doesn't need as much, and he makes so much money outside of the octagon at this point, that it would have to be something that would drive him competitively to come back and fight, because I don't think it's going to be money that makes him go back to the octagon.
Daniel Cormier says he should have retired after beating Derek Lewis and having back surgery. It was over.
When I had that back surgery in 2018 after Derek Lewis, it was over. It was over. It was over. And I fought twice since, and I possibly should not have. I think you can find those things in hindsight. But when I had that back surgery, it so severely limited what I could do that it was pretty much over. I just wasn't the same guy. And I trained hard last fight, and Stipe beat me, but I just wasn't the same guy no more after the back surgery. I should have probably stopped.
Really?
And, I should have probably stopped. I wasn't the same guy. I couldn't train as I trained before. And that's about as honest as I can be with everyone.
Do you regret sticking around?
I think you can't live with regret. Living with regret is tough. It sucks, because at the end of 2018, I was on top of the world. I was #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. I had beat Stipe. I had defended our one-back light heavyweight championship. I had beat Derek Lewis. Anytime you're the first at anything in the UFC, it's massive. And at the end of 2018, I was riding that wave, but then my back was just so bad. It was bad for a long time, right? There were a lot of times where middle of training camp, I would have to take days off because my back was so beat up, and just legitimately break everything down to the core, all the wear and tear in order to get back on my feet. I remember times in the middle of my championship run or before where I was crawling up the stairs at my house because my back was so jacked up, but I was always able to manage it. But then once I had that surgery, it was done.
Mackenzie Dern vs Nina Ansaroff in the works for UFC event on April 10th. Via Brett Okamoto, strawweight fight between Nina Ansaroff and Mackenzie Dern is in the works for April 10th. Per sources not signed, but both sides likes it. First appearance for Nina since the birth of her and Amanda Nunes' daughter Reagan in September. Rose Namajunas' response to Dana White's claim that she does not want a title shot.
Maybe there's a misconception out there that whatever, I'm weak-minded or whatever, or I can't handle the pressures of being champion or whatever the fuck people say. That's not true. That's like what I live for. That's I'm the pressure cooker. So, and you know, what better reason to remind me why I fight with, you know, my family passing, like some family member passing away. So I am super ready for all of that because that's what I'm fighting for. And yeah, so anyway, so if that answers your question, I am working on post-fight stuff all the time. You know, that's always a thing, but that doesn't, as long as it doesn't distract from the current mission, right? And that is to win my next fight and keep winning my next fights and be the best. So anyway.
Michael Bisping believes Tony Ferguson needs to accept that he's on the decline following UFC 256.
I do want to get into this, and obviously a lot of other news as well, but it's hard to talk about this one honestly. But Tony Ferguson at the weekend obviously did not go his way. He had a tough fight against a very, very good opponent. Charles Oliveira is criminally underrated.
And I did pick Charles Oliveira, might I add.
Oh, well, you did?
Yes, I did.
Oh, congratulations. Gold star for Lewis. No, but when you look at Tony Ferguson, he was a guy, I think it was a 12-fight win streak. He was booked to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov 5 bloody times. 5 times, insane. And against Khabib, you never know. Styles make fights. He might have had a good chance against Khabib. You never know. More than likely, after what we saw Saturday night, he wouldn't have done. But then he fights Justin Gaethje for an interim belt, in his second interim belt. Had a very, very tough night at the office. And if you know, and we talked about this, Tony Ferguson often takes a lot of damage in his fights. You know, he often goes out there and his opponents unload on him until they kind of get tired. And then he takes over and he crushes them. He'll Darce choke them, he'll rear naked choke them. He'll just smash them to bits with elbows. You know, and maybe I'm underselling him a little bit, you know, which is not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to set a scene. Then he comes out and fights Charles Oliveira. And we talked about it at the weekend as well, that Charles was a tough fight. I was in two minds as to who was going to win.